The 965th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with promo code MMA SGPN.
Howdy ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 965 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Nikoloz Dalby, who came through for me, baby, at last week's UFC plus 270, one of my biggest hits of the year. So thank you, Mr. Dalby. I am still Michelangelo, aka Jeff Fox. Sorry for the shaky voice today, but I had no voice 2 days ago, which would have been a dream episode for you people if we did an episode with no voice for me. Daniel Gumby Vreeland, he always has his voice. He did very well at UFC Qatar as well. He went 9-3. I went 10-2. I gained about $300 on you. So there is still hope. I'm only $600 behind with 2 events to go.
There's still time. There's still time, as the folks say. And yeah, it was not a bad event, right? Little underwhelming in the main event, but I think we all kind of went in knowing it was going to look that way, right? And even the co-main, I mean, I guess we did go, 9-3 or 10-2, which are like big nights, but we knew both of those fights were going to go that way. And it just that doesn't make it fun, right? That's in the whole Ian Gary, everybody's complaining Ian Gary jumped too high in the rankings, which first of all, before you come at me, I didn't rank him. I didn't rank him number 2. I did not do that. Somebody else, the rest of the other rankers must have put him higher because I still have him I think I had him at 4 or 5. I still got him behind Shavkat. I did have him behind Michael Morales. Obviously, still behind Jack Della, Shavkat. But there's an argument that he's good. He beat Bilal Muhammad. Who else has beaten Bilal Muhammad? Just Jack Della Maddalena, right? So, there's an argument he's good. It's just really not fun to watch. It could not be less fun to watch.
He looked good, but you knew he wasn't going to finish the fight because he doesn't finish fights.
He doesn't put his foot.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's the reason he's so boring. We're used to, if you see a wrestler who's really dominant, be like, oh, GSP doesn't finish fights because he's going to, try to rip Dan Hardy's arm off for 25 minutes and it's going to be on the ground. And, maybe that's not boring or exciting to people. Or, when he jabbed Josh Koscheck for 25 minutes or whatever, you're like, oh, that's what a wrestler does. But Ian Gary came with this promise that he was some sensational striker, the Conor McGregor reincarnated, is gonna just light people on fire with his hands, and then comes out and gives us not Sean Strickland, but not Sean Strickland.
That's what name came into my head.
You know what I mean?
Came into my head.
It's like if Sean Strickland. Well, I guess Sean Strickland does not talk about knocking people out like Conor McGregor. So, he's like a really polite Sean Strickland.
Yes. He has not finished anyone in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights ago. Daniel Rodriguez.
I was just gonna say it's the Dan Rodriguez head kick, right? Yeah. Yep. Dan Rodriguez is not a bad name. But again, if you were talking about the number 2 guy in the world, you would expect him to be able to finish somebody better than Daniel Rodriguez.
Decisions with Neil Magny, Jeff Neal, Michael Page, lost to Shavkat, Carlos Praches, Bilal Muhammad. So
here's the thing though, it's 48-47 against Shavkat. That's such a good fight, right? And it's such a bummer to be talking about him like this, but it's just I mean, when you get to the highest level, it's hard to finish everybody, but it's just I don't know. I just wish he had a little bit more recklessness in him, and I get why he doesn't, but it would be a lot more fun to watch if he did.
Yep, definitely would be. I don't see him beating Islam regardless. So
no,
if he was a finisher, then yeah,
especially because his problem with Shavkat was that he couldn't body him. Right, he couldn't deal with the physicality of Shavkat, and okay, so then you're not going to deal with the physicality of Islam, and if you are, then guess what? Shavkat is the bigger version of that, and we've already lose to it. So I don't think he's making the jump past those.
No, doesn't have a puncher's chance. Michael Morales may not be a better fighter than Ian Machado Gary. They're close, but he at least has that dangerous power that and fights.
Yeah, I think that's maybe it for me too. Is that like you're gonna sell me him as a challenger?
Yeah,
I need a path to victory, and like, is our path to victory that he's gonna pitter patter
yeah.
Islam Makhachev for 25 minutes? Like, how would that ever work out for anybody?
Yep. It doesn't work out. So enough pitter pattering about the UFC. UFC will be back next week. We're going to tell you what we're going to talk about very shortly after. I remind you, we got a promo going on right now. You can gear up for the holidays at the SGPN merch store, the perfect gift for the degen in your life. Promo code is HOLIDAY for 25% off everything in the store. Yes, even all the cool MMA gambling podcast gear. So check out the merch at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. All right, Gumby, we're getting in on the ground floor of a promotion today. If this promotion blows up, we can say we were there the very first day. How about you tell the people what you know about this promotion that we're covering today? It's Rkena, or how do you, is that how it's
Rkena, I think is what you say. Yeah, so we're breaking down Rkena 1, FC1 today, which is a brand new promotion out of Georgia. And typically we wouldn't break down brand new promotions, right? Like that seems like a wild thing to do. But for the purpose of this one, we've got some like noticeable names in the world of MMA already. And a lot of that is because they're being financially backed / kind of owned by Satana Sports, who does a lot of the broadcasting, both for Georgia, but like in that area in general for MMA. They like cover the UFC pretty extensively. They're like, a fully credentialed media outlet with the UFC and stuff like that. So like it is a like financially well-backed promotion that's getting its start out there, which like Georgia has kind of been in need of. They have
right?
GFL out there, which is Georgia Fight League. And it's not bad. Like the skill level is high, but like low production quality, not a lot of marketing behind it. And this is like, go check them out on Instagram at Rkena. And like they already kind of have like a pretty nice social media presence. So yeah, we're looking for something to do in this like barren wasteland of a week.
Yep.
And Rkena kind of popped up as one of the better options.
Well, that is a hotbed part of the world for MMA, obviously. So this would make sense to try to get a promotion up and running there. So we just saw Armin last weekend, and he's from that area right there. So hopefully, maybe we can give him a little boost by covering it today. But more importantly, we are harassing unnamed sports books to put odds up for this event. Since we're kind of still sponsored by a sports book, I won't say which sports book, but we are.
Yeah, but you guys can go to my Twitter.
Offshores, right?
Yeah, go to our Twitter and support all of our posts, encouraging people to let us get in on Rkena.
Yes, and if someone's brave enough to post lines, then you'll know who's going to win. So let's dive into it. Rkena FC 1. Tbilisi, Georgia, so the capital of Georgia is where it's taking place. This coming Saturday, 4 a.m. Eastern. So this is truly a degen special for you. SP Tbilisi, if you're in that part of the world and you want to check out this new promotion. 9 fights in a cage, sadly. So we don't have moats or anything cool like that. Or like that karate combat thing, kind of like this sloped thing. It's just the pit. Yes, it's just the normal cage. At least on paper, as Gumby said, some solid fighters on the card with solid records. Not obviously a lot of them haven't fought at the highest level as of yet, but this is a decent card to kick things off at the very least. So we're going to start things off with a flyweight belt. We can never complain about that. Jarosław Chokobok. Chokobok is from Ukraine, or the Ukraine. I think
you got yelled at for saying the Ukraine.
Yes, I just remember that. Juba Beridze, he is from Georgia. We're gonna have a few of those on this card. 3 5-minute rounds, 125. Beridze, 4-1. Excuse me, 4-1, 1 knockout, 2 submissions. He's been submitted once. He's won 3 straight. Used to fight at bantamweight. Chokobok, 8-5, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once. Durable. Win-loss win over his last 3. 3-5 over his last 8. TKO win in his last bout. He's fight at 135 as well. How hard was it to find video on any of these people on this year card?
I've seen video on all but one of the fighters on this card. One of the guys in the main event, because as you'll find, the main event is a technically still an AMI fight because one of the guys is crossing over from a different sport. So I've seen all of these guys fight, and with Chokobok, one of the things I noticed is that like he's really good at jiu-jitsu. However, as a result, his wrestling has really suffered because I think he's happy to be taken down. And so like some guys get really good at jiu-jitsu and they're like, oh, I got to improve my wrestling so I get to all the good positions. And some guys are like, I'll let them do the hard work. And he's kind of the latter. Now, I will say he is pretty fast on the feet. He's got some really nice low leg kicks and stuff like that. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Juba Beridze here. And it's just because I think Beridze will be in the advantageous positions for almost the entirety of this fight because Chokobok will like enter the clinch and then I'm not going to say he's going to pull guard, but like it's not going to be far from pulling guard in terms of what he does. I think in Beridze, if you go back and you watch his really early fights, you might be like, oh, he's got some holes there and possibly could get submitted by Chokobok. But like, if you watch the more recent ones, he's really buttoned up what he's doing in the clinch. He's buttoned up his top control. I really like his over-under control up against the cage and how he does damage with that. But ultimately, I think like I said, is Chokobok is just going to let Beridze take him down and then look for arm bars off the back and triangles off the back. And like, those are, especially as you start to fight better competition, which this is going to be like a step up for Chokobok, as you fight better competition, those submissions off your back are like tend to be much lower percentage. And so the low percentage, submission attempts here for Chokobok versus the control and the damage in the clinch for Beridze. I'll take Beridze. And if we do by some miracle get odds on this, I think the books are probably going to sway heavily to the hometown guys because you see in this promotion, in the promotion we're going to talk about, I don't know if we're releasing the other one tomorrow or today. Maybe we'll do double Wednesdays. But we're going to talk about Samurai Fight House. The books tend to sway to the local flavor, right? Like they sway to the Argentinian fighter in Samurai Fight House. They sway to the Czech fighter in Octagon. I'm assuming it'll sway a little bit here to the Georgian fighter. So I expect Juba Beridze a pretty sizable favorite.
Do you think that's because they're assuming the hometown fighters have more favorable matchups, or the judges are going to be on their side? What do you think?
I think it's a little mixture of everything. Yeah. And should it be that way for sure? I don't know. I wouldn't put it this way. If Juba Beridze wound up at like -500, I wouldn't be even the slightest bit interested in putting him in a parlay because, as I said, Chokobok can sub people off his back. Is it low percentage? Yes, but it's also not like he's like incompetent on his feet. Like he clearly can throw a little bit too. So I mean, if he was a bad striker and we were talking about low percentage submissions, then yeah, I would maybe like Beridze even a little bit more. But I think the books know that sometimes you get kind of not the fix being in. That's a scary thing to talk about in MMA, but like close rounds go to where the crowd's cheering the loudest. I mean, I've even seen that. I watched Matt Bessette versus Diego Nunes in Connecticut, and the Connecticut crowd went nuts every time Matt Bessette landed a punch, and like the judges swayed that way. So like, if a Connecticut crowd can do that, imagine what a large Tbilisi crowd can do for a guy like Beridze. So I think we're going to see the odds on his side, and I am still picking him.
All right. We will continue our Deedzi Ishvilli episode. Almost every fight's got someone with a name that ends in that, including the next one where it is featherweight Giorgi Poladishvili. Oh, you said it Italian.
Poladishvili.
Erasyl Tanirbergenov. He is from Kazakhstan. They're fighting at 145, like I said. We'll tell you about Poladishvili, 3-0 with 3 submissions. He's not fought though since last November. 6-0-1 in raw boxing. I assume that just means bare knuckle.
Yeah, but it's rawer than that. He was fighting like inside of like hay bales in somebody's basement. Dude, the clips on this guy's bare knuckle boxing, they're so good. I got a screenshot I'll share in the Discord after this.
Please do. He's 6 inches taller than Tanirbergenov. I think he's like 6 feet versus 5'6", I think is what this matchup is.
Yeah.
Tanirbergenov is 4-0 with 1 submission. He used to fight at bantamweight. That's all I got at him. Very small resume, but as Gumby said, he's seen video on everyone except one because that one person has not fought in MMA before. We'll get to that shortly.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Poladishvili here. I think the odds will be close, though, because we got an undefeated fighter with an undefeated fighter. Tanirbergenov, too, is from Kazakhstan, which is obviously a country that we think of pretty highly when it comes to MMA. So, again, hype there for sure. And for me, I'm still going to go with Poladishvili. My guess maybe in like the -130, -140 range. As you mentioned, he comes from, raw boxing. And I've seen clips of him fighting with like tires around him in like what seems to be like a pit in somebody's basement. There's maybe like 15 fans around. I actually talked to him. He's on this week's episode of Top Turtle.
Nice.
And that was all during the pandemic. They like weren't allowed to fight. So it was like underground bare knuckle boxing he was doing. And that was his way he like got into MMA. But it turns out, like, because I was like, that's crazy, because then all 3 of his victories, as you noted,
right,
the rear naked choke victory. So I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell is that all about? He's got a judo background. He started with judo, did all of this crazy judo, and he's got great judo takedowns too, like really great judo takedowns. And then he was like, well, I want to get into martial arts, but right now the only thing they're doing is like underground bare knuckle boxing. So like, then he started that with a judo background. So like, he's like funly well-rounded, because he's like, he boxes long because he's used to having to like box in a bare knuckle situation, which is like you got to be extra careful defensively there. So he's like, he fights really long. He's got like kind of a sniper mentality when it comes to his boxing. And then like when somebody does close the distance, like he hits you with those judo takedowns and it's nasty. And so, he's fighting Tanirbergenov, and like with Tanirbergenov, I think there are some positives about what he does fighting. Like he's clearly got some decent takedowns and some decent control. I don't like the way he scrambles on the mat. Like if you watch his last fight, he gave up his back for like the last 2 minutes of the 3rd round, just because like he tried to scramble and like got taken down by the guy he was fighting, and then that guy jumped out his back. So like he just wound up in a bad position, just because like his mentality scrambling wise, I think there lacks an urgency. And then on the feet too, his chin's kind of high in the air, especially for a guy who's that short. And is going to have like a massive reach disadvantage here. So like I'd worry about both of those things for Tanirbergenov. I mean, like his path to victory should definitely be to just kind of wrestle Poladishvili the whole time. But like, as I mentioned, Poladishvili, very good judo, going to be hard to do.
All right, lock it in. Another winner from the old Gumby man. All right, before we get to more plays, Novig. We're brought to you by Novig, Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Novig, you're getting the best prices because they have reduced juice. Novig is available in 35 plus states. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. And Underdog. Underdog is your home for pick'em entries where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Gumby prize to play for you right now. It's going to win.
Sure. Give me the higher than on Pascal Siakam's points, rebounds, and assists for Wednesday night. He's going north of the border in a revenge game. Currently, it's listed 34.5 is the projection. And look, last time he played the Raptors, he put up 30 points all by himself. Like he's going to get done with points and rebounds. Never mind the assists, which have been on an upward swing for him too. So give me the higher than on the PRA for Pascal Siakam.
All right. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 to get $100 of bonus funds when you sign up with our code MMA SGPN. Right, back to you. Tbilisi. How is this? I couldn't find anything. How is this being broadcast?
Well, Satana Sports owns it. Satana Sports owns it. So yeah, I'm imagining Satana Sports. I don't know how easy that's going to be to get in the States.
So we have a Discord.
We're going to need some pretty sketchy methods.
That's why we have a Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. All right, we are going to 170 next. And yes, there's a Ishvilli in the matchup here. That would be Nikoloz Abramishvili. He's from Georgia. Shock. Henri Lintula. He is from Finland. They're fighting at 170. We will tell you about Lintula first. 11-2, 2 knockouts, 9 submissions. So he's finished everyone. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. That means he owes us rounds. He's won 3 straight, 6 of 7. 0-1 in Cage Warriors, so he has fought at a higher level. Has fought at 185 and heavyweight, 3 inches taller than Abramishvili. Abramishvili is 7-3. 2 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been submitted twice. He owes his rounds as well. He's dropped 2 straight and won 2 of 5. He's a regional champ or was a regional champ. He's fight at 1-55, 12 years younger than Lintula.
Yeah, I actually think Lintula will be the favorite here. The record being much bigger. You mentioned Cage Warriors. The loss in Cage Warriors was actually to O'Meal Brown, who's now the lightweight champ of Cage Warriors as of this weekend. And he also lost to Louis Gilman, who is another like semi-regional, good regional prospect. So, like his only 2 losses are to like pretty high-level dudes. And 7-3, it's not a bad record for Abramishvili, but like bad enough that like he'd come in here as the underdog. Because he's the hometown guy, it's probably going to knock it down a little bit. Like if this was, in Cage Warriors, say, or let's say it's in Brave, like I might guess Abramishvili at like plus 210. Instead, I'm going to say like maybe plus 175, plus 180 instead. But I'm going to take the underdog here in Abramishvili. The big reason why I'm going to take him, I think he's much better on the feet than Lintula. If you watch Lintula, he gets kind of complacent on the feet, and I've seen him get popped and like knocked down because of how complacent he gets on the feet. Like I think he just believes that he's not going to get hit. And that was in the promotion Cage, which is the like local Finnish promotion. And just like, yeah, he looks like, I know I'm better than you, so I'm just going to hang here. And then he gets dropped.
Yeah.
And then from that standpoint too, like if that's what his striking looks like, his wrestling is not great. His jiu-jitsu is pretty good. Like I like his jiu-jitsu fundamentals and what he looks like on top. But his shots kind of have like a lot of space in between them. So like he'll get in on the hips, but like there's like a lot of space there. He doesn't connect the hands well. He winds up in the double underhooks instead and kind of trying to muscle takedowns and stuff. And then on the Abramishvili side, like I've seen like a really nice 1-2, particularly when he like steps into a leg kick. So like he'll step forward, see you kicking his leg, and like let you kick his leg while he like jams a 1-2 down. And that's been really good. I also really like his defensive fundamentals when it comes to wrestling. I've seen people try to get in on takedowns on him. He digs underneath the arms. He does the very simple stuff right. He gets his hips away from you. All of that stuff's good. And then from an offensive perspective, he's the exact opposite of Lintula in terms of the wrestling. There is no wasted space in his takedown. When he is on top of you, he closes that distance so heavily, and he's like almost so far in on your leg that it looks like he's like, he's like hog tying your legs together as you like just timber or fall down here. So like, I think the fact that Abramishvili is just like so much more technically sound in the wrestling department, I think he handles Lintula here. And if it does like cancel itself out, I think he wins the striking match too.
All right, there you go, Lintula, lock it in. Co-main event already. Leandro Barbosa, not the former Phoenix Sun. This guy's from Brazil as well, though. Davit. Okay, here's the first really hard name. Lortqipanidze.
Lortqipanidze.
If you say it quickly, it's easier. Lortqipanidze. They're fighting at 155. He's from Georgia. Shocking. Lortqipanidze is 7-0 with 4 knockouts. TKO win in his last bout. Used to fight at 145. 10 years younger than Barbosa, an inch taller, an inch of reach advantage over him. Barbosa 13-9, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted once. He's won 1 of 5. He got TKO'd in his last bout. Was a regional champ. He's fought at 145 and 170, 2015 pro MMA debut.
So this is going to be Lortqipanidze, like a huge favorite. Like this is a guy who I think they're really hyped on. They want to see in the UFC at some point in time or in one of those bigger promotions. 7-0. I guess what'd you say? 13-7 for Barbosa. Like the records aren't good. The hometown's not good. Like, Lortqipanidze probably be pushing like a 4-digit number in terms of his him being a favorite here. And I'm definitely picking him. Like I love the way this guy looks on the feet. He's very fast. He fights from, it looks like he's fighting from so far away, but it's because he like closes the distance really well and then is like right back out. So he's like so far away from you. When he's on top, because he's got some decent takedowns in there too. When he's on top, the elbows are just devastating. Like he just does damage as hard as he possibly can. And then when you look at Barbosa, like I think he's fun to watch on the feet. Like he throws big strikes and he looks like he's trying to do damage. But the big thing I've noticed is when there is a fear of a takedown in the back of his mind, his striking drops off precipitously. Like he is just a guy who is not as good. If he has any kind of fear that a takedown might be coming, his arms get flaily. He's trying to back away too much. So like if Lortqipanidze just shows him a takedown in the first 10 seconds of the fight, I think he then proceeds to pick him apart on the feet. And that's if he doesn't hit the takedown too. And like if he does hit the takedown, I've noticed Barbosa just is one of those guys who like settles into bottom position way too much. Like he's just way too comfortable there. And it's not even because he's going for submissions. I think it's just because he's out of ideas. So yeah, give me Lortqipanidze here. Probably massive favorite.
All right. To our main event in a moment. That technically is your real main event. But we got a feature fight coming up after this. Rhythm, RATHMM. Rhythm is crushing it in college football, NFL, and now just out of the NBA. Rhythm is also giving away weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build, and you can win $1,000. Gumby, do you have a play for the people?
Sure. We just talked about Pacers Raptors on my underdog play. Let's stay right there. Why don't we take the Raptors? Because the Pacers, despite Pascal Siakam putting up numbers, are just so very bad this year. And I kind of expect them to get rolled north of the border on Wednesday.
All right. Lock it in. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. So download Rhythm and use our code SGPN25. And the main event of the evening is an exhibition belt, 3 5-minute rounds, 205 pounds. Patryk Kontny, he is from Poland. Merab Sharikadze, he is from Georgia. Kontny, 1-1 with 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. That was in his last bout. He got TKO'd. That was back in July of 2024. Sharikadze, 0-0. He's a professional rugby player. Gumby has a bit more, I think, background in him, but yeah.
Yeah, amazing professional rugby player. If you go onto Today Sports, although it might be in Georgian, they give a little bit of a story about why he's not in rugby anymore, and it involves, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, him selling clean urine to players who weren't clean, or maybe that were. I can't remember exactly, so don't quote me on any of this. But he's now out of rugby and has decided to give MMA a try. He's only been training MMA for 4 months, so do with you what you will with that. Obviously, I have no footage on it. He's not showing off what he's doing. However, I did talk to Merab Sharikadze before this fight. And I would tell you, I asked him what kind of things transfer really well from the world of rugby versus the world of MMA. I'm like, dude, was it like takedowns or something like that? And he was like, no, actually takedowns are dangerous because like that's how you get caught getting punched, right? Because in rugby, you just stick your arms out and tackle and your head's wide open. Or you get guillotined because you put your head in the wrong spot or something like that. He said the thing that he's noticed transfers the best is the ability to hold down and do damage to a fighter once they're on the ground. His ability to keep a guy on the ground and bury them on the ground, he says, is going to be one of his biggest assets. And I went back and I watched that amateur fight that Kontny had that he lost. And clearly this guy doesn't know what he's doing on his feet. He like ran forward with his arms out, like trying to like hug the guy he was fighting, looked for a takedown when he didn't have the power because he's not a physical specimen. When he didn't have the power, he kind of just like fell backwards and like almost fell backwards into a bottom mount. So like right away, the first thing I notice is he's playing right to what Sharikadze said, is like he's going to give him an opportunity to hold him down and do damage. And then on top of that too, if Kontny is not the most athletic guy, let me tell you something about Sharikadze. Like, go watch some of this dude's rugby clips. He is so athletic. This dude is wicked powerful. I have no idea whether or not rugby is a good base for MMA or not. But like, obviously,
we'll find out.
Yeah, he's my pick here, right? Like, we don't like the football players in MMA all that much, but hey, maybe we'll like the rugby guys. And I'm going to pick Sharikadze here. I think the athleticism plays up.
Have you seen any clips of him training MMA at all?
No, I think he's keeping it close to the vest because even like when I interviewed him, I was like, what can fans expect from you? And he was like, maybe after the fight. And I was like, oh, all right. Like, okay, we're keeping things private, man.
All right. For those keeping track at home, he's got Sharikadze. He has got sorry, I lost my page here. The guy with the difficult name, of course. Lortqipanidze. He's got Abramishvili. He has got Poladishvili. He has got Beridze. you have a lightning round, Zap Edmund Powell? There's a few more fights left.
Yeah, I threw a couple on there too. Jansu Gogia. Jansu Gogia is a guy who I've seen he's got really good groundwork, both in like the submissions, holding people down, doing damage there. But he's got a Muay Thai background, so I haven't seen much of the Muay Thai stuff in MMA. But like, it gives me some promise knowing that like this guy's good on the ground and happens to have some stuff on the feet. So Jansu Gogia, and the other one I'm going to take is Marcin Zajic. He's a Pole who is fighting overseas. You notice I took almost exclusively Georgians here, but I'm going to go with a Polish guy who has fought incredible level of competition considering where he's at right now. But he's got really good submissions and is kind of like hung with some guys who you wouldn't expect him to hang with. So I think even though he might be an underdog here, you might wind up in a good spot with Marcin Zajic. So Marcin Zajic, Jansu Gogia are my 2 lightning round.
All right, you're set. We'll be in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord, YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast, Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer, at Jeff Fox Writer on Instagram. Substack, moneymma.substack.com. Gumby's got another podcast he just was telling you about. It's called Top Turtle MMA. I think he has some Georgian fighters on it, but maybe that's not this week.
Yeah, all three of the guys we picked to win here: Giorgi Poladishvili, Davit Lortqipanidze, and Merab Sharikadze.
And there you go. Check out Top Turtle. And of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Oh, I remember the code at the store. Holiday, 25% off. I just realized there was no nicknames in this episode. Either Tapology doesn't know their nicknames yet, or Georgians don't play that game. I'm not sure. So what should our nicknames be? I'm Jeff Foxishvili. You would be Daniel Gumby Vreeland. Your name kind of works. Vreeland.
Vreeland.
We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow with our favorite, or maybe later today. We'll see. With our favorite promotion, Samurai Fight House. Bye-bye.